The year 2025 marked a turning point for Somaliland. For over 3 decades, this nation in the Horn of Africa existed in diplomatic limbo, functioning as a country, yet unrecognized by the world. But in 2025, bold geopolitical moves and shifting global interests brought Somaliland's long fight for recognition into sharp focus. Suddenly, the world was paying attention. Hargeisa, Somaliland's capital, became a destination for foreign diplomats and military planners. The port of Berbera transformed into a strategic prize in a global contest. Somaliland's story was no longer a forgotten footnote. It became a live drama with consequences for the entire region. The momentum of 2025 set the stage for a decisive 2026. The coming year could finally deliver the dream of statehood, or push it further away. This video explores Somaliland's unique journey of stability and democracy, the forces that kept it isolated, and the events that brought it to the brink of a breakthrough. The world has ignored Somaliland for 33 years. It can no longer afford to do so. The stakes are high, not just for Somaliland's 6 million people, but for the entire Horn of Africa. As we stand on the cusp of 2026, the future of Somaliland hangs in the balance. The long wait may finally be ending, and the world is watching. To understand Somaliland's present, we must look to its past. In 1960, Somaliland was briefly an independent, recognized country before uniting with Italian Somaliland to form the Somali Republic. The union, meant as a partnership, quickly soured under Southern dominance and Siad Barre's dictatorship. Oppression led to civil war, and when Somalia collapsed in 1991, Somaliland declared the union over and reclaimed its independence. While Somalia descended into chaos, Somaliland built a nation from scratch, disarming militias, writing a constitution, and blending traditional leadership with democracy. It established its own currency, passports, army, and police, and held free, fair elections with peaceful transfers of power. Somaliland became a de facto state, building peace and stability with little outside help. Yet, the world looked away. No UN member has ever recognized Somaliland's sovereignty. Its people travel on passports few accept, and its government cannot sign official treaties or access international loans. Somaliland exists on the map of its people's hearts, but is invisible to the world. This paradox, internal success, external isolation, has defined Somaliland for a generation. Despite its achievements, it remains a nation in waiting. The frustration of being unrecognized shapes every aspect of life here. But hope persists that change is finally within reach. Why does recognition matter? For Somaliland, it's about survival and prosperity. Without official statehood, Somaliland can't access global finance or secure international loans, making development difficult. Foreign investment is scarce. Big companies avoid the legal risks of an unrecognized state. This starves the economy of capital, limiting jobs and growth for Somaliland's young population. Security is another challenge. Somaliland has kept out extremist groups like Al-Shabaab, but does so alone, without formal alliances or security assistance. It can't legally buy advanced equipment to protect its borders or coastline. Recognition would allow Somaliland to be a formal partner in the fight against terror. It's also about dignity, having a seat at the table, signing international agreements, and controlling borders and airspace. For 33 years, Somaliland has chosen peace and democracy. Recognition would be the world's acknowledgement of that choice. It would unlock opportunities and reward responsible state building. The cost of invisibility is high, but the potential rewards are even greater. Somaliland's people are ready for the world to see them. For decades, Somaliland's quest for recognition was slow and frustrating, until 2025. The game changer was a landmark deal with Ethiopia, which needs sea access for its 120 million people. Ethiopia signed an agreement to lease part of Berbera's coastline for a naval base, hinting at possible recognition of Somaliland. Somalia was furious, cutting ties with Ethiopia and rallying allies to condemn the move. For Somaliland, this was a breakthrough, a major regional power treating it as an equal partner. The deal made Somaliland a flashpoint in the struggle for Red Sea influence. Global powers, including the US, began to take notice. US officials visited Berbera, eyeing its strategic port and runway. Somaliland grew more assertive, refusing Somalia's new federal e-visa system and insisting on its own border controls. This defiance, combined with the Ethiopia deal and US interest, created a perfect storm. By the end of 2025, Somaliland's recognition was more urgent and more possible than ever. The world could no longer ignore Somaliland's claim to statehood. The stage was set for a historic shift. For Somaliland to gain recognition, one country must act first, triggering a domino effect. Ethiopia is the most likely candidate, driven by its need for sea access and the strategic benefits of Berbera. Recognition would cement the port deal and could outweigh diplomatic fallout. The United States is another contender. A shift in US policy could secure a democratic partner, counter rivals, and provide a base in the Red Sea. Even a Taiwan-style model, more engagement without full recognition, would be a huge step. The Gulf states, especially the UAE, have invested heavily in Berbera and may see recognition as a way to secure their interests. The UK, with historical ties, and African nations like Kenya could also play a role. The first country to act will face intense pressure from Somalia and its allies. But the strategic and moral case for recognizing Somaliland is growing stronger. The world is watching to see who will make the first move. Recognition is no longer unthinkable, it's a real possibility. The stakes are high, and the rewards could reshape the region. The question is, who will be bold enough to act? Despite momentum, Somaliland faces formidable obstacles. Somalia fiercely opposes recognition, seeing Somaliland as an integral part of its territory. Backed by allies like Turkey and Egypt, Mogadishu uses its diplomatic power to block any move toward independence. The African Union is another barrier, committed to colonial-era borders to prevent endless secessionist conflicts. Many fear that recognizing Somaliland would set a dangerous precedent for separatist movements across Africa. Somaliland argues its case is unique, restoring its 1960 independence, not creating a new border. International law supports Somaliland's claim, but political will is lacking. China and Russia oppose secession, fearing precedents for Taiwan and other regions. These powerful voices on the UN Security Council make widespread recognition difficult. The walls of resistance have held for over 30 years. The question for 2026, are new strategic pressures finally strong enough to break them? The struggle is far from over. As 2026 approaches, Somaliland faces three possible futures. The first, full recognition, likely led by Ethiopia, breaking the deadlock and triggering a diplomatic crisis with Somalia. This could start a domino effect, encouraging others to follow. The second, a significant diplomatic upgrade, countries open embassies, sign agreements, and treat Somaliland as a state in all but name. This Taiwan model offers practical benefits without crossing Somalia's red line. The third, a return to the status quo, with heightened tension and stalled momentum if regional pressure proves too strong. Of these, the second path, a diplomatic upgrade, seems most likely for 2026. It allows key players to deepen ties with Somaliland without a full rupture. This would be a major step forward, ending total isolation and positioning Somaliland for eventual recognition. The journey is far from over, but progress is within reach. Somaliland stands at a crossroads with hope stronger than ever. The next year will be decisive. Somaliland's story is one of patience and determination. For 33 years, its people built a peaceful, democratic nation while denied a place in the world community. Now, As 2026 dawns, global interests have converged on this unrecognized republic. The walls of resistance remain high. Somalia's claim, the African Union's fears, and the opposition of global powers. Full recognition and a UN seat are unlikely in the immediate future, but the status quo is no longer sustainable. The momentum for change is too strong to stop. 2026 is poised to deliver a fundamental shift in Somaliland's international standing. Expect more diplomatic missions in Hargeisa and more formal agreements treating Somaliland as a sovereign partner. This year marks the end of the beginning for Somaliland. The world is finally acknowledging the reality on the ground. Somaliland is stable, democratic, and can no longer be ignored. While a UN seat may still be years away, Somaliland is on the verge of the dignity and partnerships it deserves. A new chapter is about to be written. This is Horn Lens, bringing you the stories shaping the Horn of Africa. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, do you think Somaliland will finally be recognized?